Hey everybody, I hope you're all doing well. In today's video, I'd like to show you how I passed a 200K MyForex Funds account challenge. Now, for those of you who don't know, MyForex Funds is a proprietary firm that allows you to trade their capital and keep 80% of the profits as long as you adhere to their risk management guidelines. So I would like to show you the trades that I took, as well as the reasoning behind them that allowed me to pass this trading evaluation. So without further ado, let me roll the intro and we'll get into the charts behind me so I can show you what I'm talking about. Okay, everybody, so first things first, I share all my trades to my private Discord community. So we're going to take a look inside the community and see the exact messages that I actually sent to all the community members prior to the trade taking place. So the first trade we're looking at here is on July 11th, and it was an AUDUSD trade. So as you can see on July 7th, I sent this picture, this analysis with the parameters shown. I had a buy limit and a sell limit position. It just so happens that the sell limit was activated first. That went straight into profit. I did hold it over the weekend, as I mentioned in this message here. And then shortly after that, on July 11th, it inevitably hit the take profit. This was a very clean trade. So I just wanted to clarify, I did send this to the Discord community. And now we're going to head into TradingView and take a look at my reasoning behind the trade and how it played out. So I'm not going to bother using replay mode too much because it's just kind of a waste of time. You can see the outcome of the trade. We're just going to talk about my reasoning behind it and what exactly happened. So the reasoning behind the trade was, of course, this supply zone right here. I'm just going to zoom into it. So we can see that we have this very refined supply zone. It's refined down to this one candle. I am using an indicator to identify my supply and demand zones. I'll link to the indicator in the description of this video. But I use this on a daily basis to identify ideal zones in the market, and it just saves me from doing a lot of chart work. So this was the supply zone that the indicator marked out for me. Now it was printed on the chart because, of course, it was responsible for this break of structure right here. We had a clear low right here, and price broke through it very impulsively. So rather than targeting this area, the indicator decided to target the extreme zone, which is much more favorable in my opinion. So let me zoom out a bit more so we can see the bigger picture of things. Of course, overall, we have bearish momentum to the downside. As you can see, whenever there's a big bearish move in price action here, it's very impulsive, very clear momentum. And then as price is retracing, it is doing so in a very corrective manner. You can see that the time it takes for price to drop is very short in comparison for the time it takes for price to retrace. So that's a good way to gauge market momentum. So obviously momentum is to the downside. I'm very keen on taking a short position at this time, and I simply set a sell limit order for this supply zone. Now, of course, in hindsight, if we look at the position, it would have been better to set my entry point at the 50% of that supply zone. But, you know, hindsight is 20/20. It's not always like that in real time. Either way, I'm happy with how this trade turned out. You can see that we reacted to that supply zone, respected it, got a good push away from it, made some corrective movement, but then made another push, breaking this low here, and all these minor lows here as well. Now, we didn't take off too impulsively from that point on, but we did inevitably hit the take profit for 8.34 R. So that was a really good trade. It definitely propelled me towards passing the first phase of the MyForex Funds challenge. And yeah, it was a very healthy trade. So that pretty much sums up that one. And yeah, it was shared to the community here. So let's hop on to the next trade that helped me pass phase one of the 200K MFF challenge. So this next trade was taken on EURUSD for a total of 8.5 R profit, and it was responsible for passing the phase one of the 200K MFF account. However, with this trade in particular, I neglected to share it to the community ahead of time. I always try my best to share all my trades to the community members for educational purposes, but at the end of the day, I'm not a signal service. I don't advertise being a signal service. It's not my responsibility to share every single trade that I take. This one in particular, I was just rushed in the morning. I literally said in the analysis here, the comment here, I've been rushing around with my son running errands before my trip this weekend, but I managed to catch this entry based on the 15-minute and 5-minute time frame. I think this trade was actually influenced by one of our community members, if I recall, because I was just rushing. I didn't have time to really sit down and take a look at it, but I saw one of our trusted members posting analysis, and I was like, you know what, that fits my criteria, let's hop on it. So I didn't post this ahead of time, but you know, it is what it is. Again, I'm not a signal service. You know, if our members decide to take my trades, then they do so at their own risk. I only share my trades for educational purposes. So whenever I have time to do so, I certainly share it ahead of time. But regardless, let's take a look at the actual trade itself. All right, so here's the trade. We're currently on the 5-minute time frame. This one was literally based on the 5-minute and the 15-minute. The 15-minute, of course, being the higher time frame, the 5-minute being the execution time frame. Now, typically, I don't even look at the 5-minute time frame. I usually enter my trades on the 15-minute, and it's usually based on the 1 hour and 4 hour as higher time frame analysis. However, with this one, like I mentioned previously, I believe this one was based on one of our trusted members' analysis that he shared. So I just hopped along with him. Very, very clean trade though. Again, the demand zone here that you see in the gray zone here, it was printed by the SMC indicator. It saves me so much time, I can't even explain. So the demand zone was obviously printed because we had a clear break of structure right here. And that was responsible. This is the responsible zone for that break of structure, right? This is the last area of demand that caused that impulsive break of structure. So once this zone was highlighted and the order flow was clearly to the upside, I decided to hop along and join the trend. And I'm very glad I did just that, because I set my entry at the top of the, like the high of the demand zone here. It was tapped in just beautifully. As you can see, very minimal, almost non-existent drawdown, just tapped in and then just shot up immediately, which was a beautiful reaction. Couldn't ask for better than that. This huge impulsive bullish candle is exactly what I'm looking for. That's the kind of momentum I want to see when I enter a trade. That shows me that it's pretty healthy. Now, made a minor pullback, created a minor low, and then violated that the recent high, creating a new higher high, a new higher low, a new higher high that eventually hit the full take profit for, what was it? 8.5 hour. Yeah. So this is the trade that was responsible for passing my phase 1 of the MFF account, in conjunction, of course, with the previous trade that I showed you on AUDUSD. So once these two trades were closed out, yeah, the MFF phase 1 was passed. They emailed me, giving me the information for my phase 2 account, and I logged in immediately. And yeah, let's move on to the next trade. All right, so phase 2 of MFF was very satisfying for me, and let me explain why. Now, first of all, I did share these trades to the Discord community. There was 2 trades in total on EURUSD that were responsible for completing the phase 2 MFF. So let's dive right into it. It was on EURUSD, and it was based on the 1 hour time frame to begin with. We had a demand zone here. That's what I was targeting for my initial entry. However, shortly after that, we saw huge bullish price action, creating another break of structure here, which is of course going to print another demand zone. Now let's head over to the charts and really dive into this, because there's a few things I'd like to point out about this newly developed demand zone. So here it is here. I apologize the switch from light to dark theme. But I prefer dark. I was only using the light theme on that day because it was just very sunny where I was. Couldn't see anything on my computer. Anyways, so this is the demand zone that I targeted, and this was the trade that was taken. As you can see, there's another trade shortly after that was taken. Both of these were the only 2 trades that were responsible for passing the phase 2 MFF. However, with this newly developed demand zone, I understood at the time that it was inherently risky. The reason being, we have relative equal lows here, which represents liquidity in the market. Okay, so that means whenever there's relative equal lows or equal highs, it's very likely to be purged. So what I did here was I accepted that risk. I knew that there was a potential for this trade not working out and resulting in a 1 hour loss. However, I still had the original position that I sent out to the community down at this demand zone here, in case this demand zone was used as inducement to induce buyers early on in the market. just to further mitigate this zone and then take off and continue bullish order flow from there. So let's jump back to the Discord quickly. As you can see, I left both positions open just in case. And that's why signals are silly, right? Like, I share this for educational purposes, but I understood the risk involved and I accepted it. I accepted that I could potentially lose this first trade, but the second one would make up for it, obviously. But that's the thing. We all trade differently. We all manage risk differently. We all manage our positions differently. So that's why I don't like the idea of providing signals, right? I share these trades just to educate my members and show them how the course that I have taught, this is how it can be utilized in real time. This is how I do things, okay? So it is very beneficial for a lot of our members. So let me scroll down a bit. It was very slow during this week. I remember that. I was in Mexico. I was on a trip and I was just waiting and waiting patiently for something to happen here, and it took quite some time. So let me scroll down a bit more. Yeah, it was on the 22nd of July, which was actually my last day of this trip, and the trade was then activated. As you can see, it tapped in beautifully at the 50% level of that demand zone and then took off immediately into profit. Let me scroll down a bit more. And yeah, shortly after that, I took another small trade, and this is the one that propelled me towards the final target profit for the My Forex Funds Challenge. Now, that small trade there, that secondary trade, I didn't have time to share that to the community. It's just another one of those things where it was just kind of a last minute thing, but it fit my criteria, so I took the trade, obviously. Let me head back over to TradingView and we'll analyze that. So this first trade was taken on the 1 hour time frame. However, the second trade was taken on the 15-minute time frame. So let's zoom into that. So the reason the demand zone isn't showing up printed by the indicator is because this wick here actually violated that zone. So let me use the replay tool and take price back. There we go. So you can see that we have a demand zone printed. Let me scale this back a bit too. Right, so this is the demand zone. It was obviously responsible for this huge bullish movement that broke structure, caused a big disruption in market structure. So obvious demand zone to target, right, for a continuational trade. Now, I decided to target the 50% of the zone just to increase my risk to reward ratio. I had a 10 pip stop loss, which was pretty healthy for me. I don't like to go too small. I'm not very greedy with my trades. And I was simply targeting the recent swing high here. Now, if you remember from the images I just showed in Discord, this original position had a much higher take profit, but I adjusted it or actually I didn't even adjust it. I just closed early once this trade was in profit because I realized that if we get towards this recent swing high, then both of these trades combined would be responsible for passing my phase 2. So there would be no point in me holding it to completion to the actual take profit that I set. So these were both closed a little bit early because I passed the requirements for my Forex funds. So let me play this forward. Yeah, got tapped in right about there. A little bit of drawdown. I wasn't too happy with that. As you can see, price went right towards the bottom of the demand zone. This happens quite a bit on EURUSD. It really just pushes the limits of these supply and demand zones. And that's why I'm always very generous with my stop loss size. I mean, 10 pips is still pretty small in comparison to some traders who use like 50, 60 pip stop losses, which is absurd to me. So this is still pretty tight in that perspective. However, I always just give it a little bit more room. Like, I don't put my stop loss right to the low or right to the high of my point of interest. It's always got some breathing room above or below it just to accommodate, especially on EURUSD, to accommodate for this these equal lows and equal highs that price creates quite often. So let me continue to play price forward because I actually almost got stopped out of this trade at one point. It was pretty darn close. Where was it? Right about there. So that was very, very close to stopping me out. I was very grateful that I didn't move my stop loss to break even. It was obviously too early to do such a thing. We didn't have any continuational structure to trail the stop loss, so it wouldn't have made sense to move my stop loss to break even. That would be silly. And again, I'm really glad I didn't because I would have been stopped out and then I would have had to take another trade afterwards in order to pass this evaluation. So luckily I managed to stay in the trade just barely, and it made the demand zone disappear because that's what I have my settings and the indicator set to. If a wick or a candle body violates an order block or demand zone, supply zone, whatever you want to call it, then it's deleted from the chart. So let's keep going. Yeah, as you can see there, I think I closed it right here actually. I don't even think it hit full take profit because I had already passed my target at that point. Eventually it did surpass the original take profit, so that's cool. But yeah, that's basically what happened. Each phase of the My Forex Funds evaluation was passed in 2 trades. AUDUSD and EURUSD on the first phase, where the profit target was 8%, which represents about $16,000 US. And phase 2 was passed in 2 trades as well, just on EURUSD. And the profit target for that was, I believe, 5%, so 10,000 USD. Yeah, so those are the trades that were responsible. This was my basic thought process behind all of the trades that I took. I shared the majority of them, at least, to the Discord community in my personal analysis channel. As you can see, we've got a channel for that. We also have team analysis where our coach, Steven, also shares his trades and analysis. We have so much other cool stuff in the community as well. So if this is something you might be interested in, definitely head over to the link in the description of this video, and you can certainly join. You can actually join for free. We have a free public section where there's a chat room, results, YouTube. We have free giveaways, and there's going to be a free course coming pretty soon, like entirely free. So I would highly recommend joining this. And if you want to be a part of our premium channels, such as the analysis channels and our premium members chat rooms, then definitely head over to the website and join. We'd be happy to have you. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was good insight. Stay tuned for more. Hit that subscribe button. And yeah, I'll talk to you all soon.